So, can I get an update on how Lucifer is doing?
It's going great.
It really is.
Yeah.
It's surprisingly for a cat of hell. Gets along with all the animals.
Yeah. We had to buy a king-size bed for a cat bed. And you had a litter box thing.
Yeah, we had to buy a sandblock sized.
Where's your house?
Don't ask questions. Material possessions
Aren't needed. We're living minimalistic now.
We're just taking care of Lucifer.
Yeah, we got the tent over there.
Just run by my what?
Ignore the 4 horses.
Oh, okay.
It's fine.
Yikes.
Yeah, we're fine.
Lucifer, did you just fucking unleash a sulfur bomb again for your asshole? Damn it.
God, who's cleaning that up?
I cleaned it up last time.
Thank you.
I'm going home.
Good morning, Free Rotation Nation. Welcome to this week's episode called Lucifer in Religion.
Hello, welcome.
To the howling abyss.
I was about to say, welcome, sweaty balls.
Hello. I'm Bobby.
I feel like we're like an NPR show right now.
That's what I was going
That's
why I wanted to do
Hello,
it.
welcome.
They're the best to fall asleep to. Their voices are so fucking soothing.
And then if the demon possesses you up your butthole, you can then just fart it out.
June 21st in Oregon, Civil War almost broke out. And in further news... Wait, what? Let's go back. News?
There's a nuclear bomb heading our way. In other news, did you hear about Kim Kardashian's new line of products?
No, the Civil War thing was real.
Oh, was there?
Yes.
Yeah, they held that whole stupid... like some senators Republican senators aren't voting on a certain bill, so they ran off.
And in Oregon, the governor... like the majority can have them compelled to come back, so the governor issued warrants for their arrest. So the senator sent a statement that says, when your state troopers show up, prepare to die.
Pretty much like send
Holy
only
shit.
bachelors.
Said you better come heavily armed.
That's like taking Oregon Trail to a whole new level.
But they brought it to Idaho, so now all the potatoes are going to burn.
And
I need my French fries.
Keto diet will be easier to follow.
Yeah, that's true. Everything's gluten-free and trying to be low-carb friendly. Nobody's going to eat potatoes anymore. We got to worry about the cauliflower.
True.
Guys, you know who else went to dominate a people that they knew nothing about?
This is like the best kind of segue into anything we're talking about.
The Cruserders. So this week we want to discuss Lucifer in religion. And while you touched briefly on the topic that we can't find him really in Christianity, we can find the Luciferian...
Luciferianism.
Yeah, you said Luciferian.
I know, I was trying to help a sister out, but it didn't work very well.
Luciferian religion. Okay, roots. All the way back to the Crusades.
Yeah, because apparently Isaiah 14:12, it doesn't really do anything for Lucifer.
So when I think of Luciferian, I think of like a little devil wearing a safari hat and shit, going around exploring for animals.
I like the way you think.
I was thinking Rastafarian, but Luciferian.
Hey.
So yeah, like that, but
Yeah.
it was like the devil with his little horns poking out between like some like
Dreadlocks?
Dreadlocks, yes.
I like it.
So this is how I picture the Crusaders right now, by the way.
But much more violent.
Yes.
Yeah. And so what happened was the Crusaders, they were Catholics. They really truly believed in the church and the scriptures. And they go back and they're marching to take Jerusalem back from the Muslims. Because Jerusalem is a holy site to a lot of religions.
Mm-hmm.
But, of course, Christians, ours.
Mine.
Yes, mine, not ours.
No,
Just
mine.
mine, and I need you to go get it for me.
I'm just saying when the Persians ruled it, this wasn't what we had to deal with on a regular basis.
You only fought Spartans. That's the problem you had.
That's kind of what the Crusaders ran into. They began to learn about the ancient Persian and Sumerian cultures, Egyptian cultures, Indian, Greek, and Muslim cultures, and realized that these scriptures they'd heard their whole life were warped off of a much older mythos and religion. And thus was born the secret societies when the Crusaders...
The Crusaders? Are they Luciferians as well?
The Luciferians from the Crusaders.
I just want to point out that we're actually like a gaming nerd and fandom podcast. So if we say things wrong, don't judge us.
We're trying.
Heretofore, they're called Cruserders.
Angie played a lot of Stardew Valley last night.
Nice. My sister just got it. She's loving it.
I finally got a pig and a duck.
Nice.
Speaking of pigs.
And the Muslims don't eat them.
Yes.
But the Crusaders came back.
The Ermagerd Cruserders.
And what we got from the three secret societies was the Rosicrucians, which I horribly misspelled here on this thing.
I thought for a second when I read it, I thought it said Rosencrantz, and I was like, wait, this is the best. It's
the Rosencrantz and Guildenstern.
Yes, the Rosencrucians.
The Masonic orders and the Templars.
And remember, we did talk about Freemasonry a little bit last
We
episode.
did, because the ones that are most true to the Luciferian.
I think the easiest way to say it is going to be Luciferian.
I tried to say that, and I still said
We can just refer to him as Lucy.
Lucy, yes.
The Lucy religions.
Yes, I like it. The one closest to the Lucy religion are the Masonics, because when you take an oath into the Masonic orders, you don't have to state that you believe in Christianity or in any sort of deity.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
The Templars stand aside because you do have to admit to a faith in God and in Christianity. So they are a slightly bit different.
Are they like the Shriners that are like on the side of the road always collecting money?
I think Shriners are different.
Yeah, Shriners are different.
It's wear funny hats.
But it's kind of funny if you think about it, if for Freemasonry, because a lot of people associate.
You said Freemason.
I said Freemason.
No,
You're-
you said
Oh my God, it's early in the morning.
So the Freemasons.
The Fruit
The
Masons.
Rosencrantzes.
I played a lot of Stardew Valley yesterday.
Clearly.
And the Crusaders.
Oh my God.
It's Crusaders.
The Freemasons are associated with our founding fathers.
Yeah.
So whenever you hear that we're founded on a Christian government, it's kind of funny if you know.
Very, very false. We are founded on the exact opposite of
So,
a Christian government.
Yeah, if you're taking into account that the Fruit Masons were the actual founding fathers, then that would be kind of an antithesis to what exactly they believed in. If that
And
was
they
the
have
case.
multiple quotes where they specifically stated that any government founded under a godhood is doomed to fail and stupid. Like,
Yeah.
they
That's a
literally
theocracy.
called these people stupid.
Yeah. Separation of church and state and all that jazz.
Yeah, Ben Franklin called it an idiocracy.
Right.
Like, it. Anyways, we won't get into that too. Well, that's a whole separate ballgame. But the Rosicrucians are like more of your metaphysical.
Mm-hmm.
They tie in like metaphysics, actual physics. They're like your out there's. They're actually a humanitarian organization recognized by world governments, and you could join and be a Rosicrucian right now.
Nice.
They're non-denominational.
Do I get a job?
Maybe, I don't know. I can't.
I mean,
speak
you
for
could
'em.
become a missionary for them.
Ooh.
The Rosicrucians actually are one of the only organizations that any donations they take in, they do their work first, and anything left over finances their organization.
Awesome.
See, that's what it
Where
should
it-
be like.
Nope.
Mhm.
We're going to buy a priest a brand new house and a BMW.
Praise the Lord!
That's what we did for the Holy Trinity Catholic Church, Preacher City.
Oh, are you serious?
They had a where it's called, the little priest house. They had a small one, and then they built them a real big one on the hill, and they got like 3 BMWs. I'm like, what do they need it for? They're like, to go to the grocery store and shit. Like,
Mhm.
You know, you could have donated that money to, I don't know, the needy.
exactly.
So when I say
Luciferianism.
Luciferianism,
Lucy religions.
Lucy's. What comes to mind when you heard back before you had any idea of what a Luciferian is, what the Cruserders were about? Lucy's. What came to your mind?
I mean, I pictured demonic, like kind of almost what Satanism
Yeah.
is portrayed to be.
Like
Mhm.
angsty teenagers, pale angsty teenagers.
Wearing like robes.
wearing robes and,
And like humming,
yeah, and kidnapping small animals to be sacrificed.
Yeah.
Which is sad.
Okay. Well, while the Lucy religions are not, they're similar to Satanism. They are very dissimilar to Christianity while still holding pretty much the same creation myth.
Mm-hmm.
But whereas Christianity tells you that the snake in the garden was Lucifer and he caused the fall of mankind, Luciferians say no, that was actually God in the garden, because Lucifer is knowledge, he is well-being, he is being spiritually whole. That's what Lucifer is about. He's the light bringer.
Isn't it funny though, if you just a random note, is that actually in Latin Lucifer also referred to Jesus.
Yes.
So
And we'll get to that a bit later.
yeah.
but
So
Yeah.
it's like you kind of see where the lines are.
It's starting to blur.
Ookie
Yeah.
spookums.
Oopie spookums.
Right. So the Luciferians take the stance that Lucifer was the one who is saving mankind. He fell so he could save us. And it goes back into what we talked about last week, the Sumerian mythos of Tiamat and her husband, son, brother that was fallen
from
and created the
Alabama.
earth. So the thing is, so the Luciferian belief is that Satan is not Lucifer.
Mhm.
Satan is God, and God is evil.
Yeah.
Because he wants to dominate through violence and ignorance.
Which is what a lot of people do believe.
Yeah, especially. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Especially if you go by the Old Testament.
Right.
I mean, you flooded the fucking earth.
Don't
and,
eat shrimp. You're going to die.
And you turn people into salt and shit.
You better not wear synthetic fibers.
Yeah.
I will cut a bitch.
I love it that that's the, don't be gay, but it's okay to have synthetic fibers and eat some shrimp.
Oh, yeah.
Leviticus is a
and you can't,
hypocrisy.
you should be stoned for divorcing. And any woman who uncovers her head and speaks out should be killed immediately. But let's let women be the most vocal about killing homosexuals. So
Yeah.
let's just pick and choose.
So you gotta think that the Christian mythos, there's a lot of dichotomy there and a lot of stuff that you can reinterpret into making it into a different religion.
Mm-hmm. So Luciferians believe even in the old books before they were edited by King James to suit his whim and Henry VIII. It included where Lucifer was always called the knowledge bringer, the light bringer. Any reference to Lucifer was that he was the morning star who would never burn out. He was always a friend of mankind, and he had an issue with the other gods because they saw mankind as slaves instead of we're not on that deity level, but we are spiritual beings.
Yeah.
So in modern Luciferianism,
Lucifer religions.
It started becoming mainstream in 1888, where you had references to the New World Order. And I know we've all heard the New World Order. Back in the 80s, during the Satanic Panic, the New World Order was like the catchphrase to, and that's why when Hulk Hogan joined the NWO in wrestling, it was such a huge deal because it became this horrible thing, like Satanism's taking over wrestling. I don't know that it's not. I mean, McMahon is kind of scary, but...
He walks funny.
So in 1888, Madame Blavatsky... How can I say that name? And I can't say Luciferi.
Less consonants in Lucifer.
It's like my mouth just doesn't form that word.
It's your cat.
I thought Lucifer was coming
It's
through the window.
Lucifer.
So anyway, she wrote a book called The Secret Doctrine, and she stated some of the tenets that Lucifer is the only god of our planet. It was created from him, which references back to the Sumerian Enuma Elish.
You got that word down.
Yeah. And she says that Lucifer is the only hope to bring a new era of tolerance and peace through knowledge and spiritual acceptance. So another thing is she also identified that Luciferianism,
You had it.
the
You had it the first time.
Luciferianism?
It's Luciferianism, but you can say Luciferianism, so you're good.
Okay. And I spelled it correctly
Like
every
tomato,
time.
like tomato.
Luciferianism.
Oh my God, it happened.
Crusaders.
Golf
there we
clap,
go.
Bobby.
Thank you. I crusaded hard for that. So, okay, so she identified Luciferianism. No.
A third of this episode is going to be Angie just trying to pronounce the word.
She identified Luciferianism as the way of the left, the left path. So I thought it was interesting that liberals, which believe in tolerance, inequality, and peace, are considered the left side of government, the left side of the social stratosphere. So I think that's interesting that you have the right, which in Christianity means that, God's accepted, and the left, the people on the left were the ones he turned away, who are associated with Lucifer.
So you're saying is I can get a shirt with a donkey on that has little devil horns?
Yeah.
Oh, that would be really good.
That'd be kind of sick.
I think it would be. And then our beloved H.G. Wells, turns out he was a Luciferian, and he published a book called The New World Order, where it outlines the tenets of Luciferianism and how it can better the world. I sold my soul.
It was just hilarious because I think it kind of intertwines like when he did his whole War of the Worlds thing, just scaring the shit out of people.
Yeah, because the idea I think from H.G. Wells is like his thing was that what could the world look like from an apocalyptic standpoint, and it was different versions of it, the New World Order, and then War of the Worlds was what happens when there's things out there that we just don't understand.
Yeah. So also another couple of the modern tenets are people are spiritual beings who come to Earth for a brief moment. We're part of a spiritual self that exists out there, maybe not deity level, but we are spiritual beings. We're immortal. And we come to Earth for a brief time to learn and to grow before we rejoin the spiritual cosmos, which is heaven or hell.
Yeah, essentially.
Like all of these things are just saying the same thing differently. And it says Lucifer's ruler of Earth and all things earthly, like your government, your material gains, your knowledge movements, the legal system. These are all ruled by Lucifer. So unfortunately, what can happen is our purpose is to come here and develop the kingdom within and not the kingdom without. That's Lucifer's domain.
Yeah.
But some people come here and they begin to develop the kingdom without. They focus on material gains and the thirst for knowledge beyond your internal awareness and helping other people. So
That's a very pagan thing.
It is. Oh,
Yeah.
it completely is. So it's kind of like you enter a Faustian bargain if you sell your soul to the devil, quote unquote, by trying to take over, basically Lucifer's role in the world.
Mm-hmm.
So humans have corrupted the earth, big surprise.
Right.
And turned it away from this plane where we would come to get physical knowledge and a knowledge of self. Because this is where we become to be a self before we go back and become a whole.
Mm-hmm.
So there are a lot of differences in Luciferianism and Satanism. I know I referenced the Faustian bargain where you sell your soul.
Yeah, crossroad deal.
That's something that we talk about in pop culture is the idea of the crossroads, the devil at the crossroads.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also important to point out that Satanism does believe in the material gain of things, that you should satisfy your wants and needs of your worldly wants, whereas in Luciferianism, that's not necessarily the case.
Mm-hmm. Which we were just about to discuss that in the differences between Luciferian and satanic folks. They're very similar in beliefs in that they're both nonviolent and they believe in protecting the earth.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think Satanism, it said it is very similar in that they worship Satan as Lucifer, but Luciferianism says Satan is not Lucifer. They're very distinct. They're very distinct animals, so to speak.
It's almost like if you worship the Greek pantheon versus the Roman pantheon, like or even, I mean, you can say that there's similarities there, or you could say like worshiping Greek pantheon versus Christianity. Mm-hmm. It's two very distinct.
Or worship
things.
Egyptian rather than Greek.
Yes,
same thing, pretty much the exact same stories, but different in key ways.
Yes,
different names and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
And like in all religions, you have your theistic, which means the religion centers on God, and an atheistic, which means the religion holds the God as an archetype.
Yep.
So even in Christianity, you have your archetypal Christians and your theistic, which is, my God, you're going to burn in hell, man.
Well, and there was the idea, going historically back, is that's why people believe that in Freemasonry, God was an architect that left. And that this is, or not Freemasonry, but it's a different, I always get it mixed up, but that God was an architect, created the world, but he was no longer an entity that existed. He just created it and that was it.
Right. So in Satanism, Satan is more of a metaphor. And in Luciferianism, Lucifer is an archetype.
Yeah.
Or if they're theistic, they both hold these to be a deity.
Mm-hmm.
There's basic but very important differences because Lucifer is a god of light and higher learning. Luciferians believe and work for the wellness of all, whereas Satan is for the wellness of self. Satanism is a carnal religion that embraces accepting your animal side, and like I said, they believe in your gain, your personal gain, which, I mean, there's not really a problem with that, but that's how you stay here on this world, and if that's your goal, then succeeded. Yeah. Satanists also believe in a deity of self. Yourself as a deity, as immortal, you'll keep coming back. So there starts to be a line that gets crossed in, I can do whatever I want because we're just going to come back.
Yeah.
So if I kill you, you're not really dead. I've just killed you in this life. So you start getting into a metaphysical line crossing. But yeah, here's where we circle back to Lucifer connecting with Christianity, and this is where I feel like it gets creepy.
Okay.
There, in the Vatican, under the St. Peter's Basilica, is an entire throne room devoted to Lucifer where they crowned him king of the world. The Pope and his attendants will sit in that room under the Lucifer throne.
What?
That's fucked up.
Right?
Nanny the fuck?
This is the Pope's
Nani?
Easter prayer. You remember how we were talking about Lucifer was another name for Jesus?
Yes.
In 2015, there was a huge shock. And it got quieted quickly, probably because of the church. But this was the Easter prayer from the Pope. Blaming Lucifer finds mankind. I say, O Lucifer, who will never set Christ as your son, who came back from hell, shed its peaceful light on mankind, now lives and reigns forever and ever. Amen. And he said the prayer under the Luciferian throne.
Can you imagine that shit got out like today? Like they did it? Like, you know what viral that would go? Like,
Yeah. I mean, this was 2015. It was 4 years ago.
oh, fuck.
Yeah, this was 2015. There was a huge outrage. And this is when you had your hardcore, like, Southern Baptist Christians say the Pope, there's Satan's in the Vatican. But it's not Satan in the Vatican. It's Lucifer. And then once you dig a little bit deeper, you realize that the Pope has never... Like, different popes in different ways have said different things regarding Lucifer. Some of them take the papal, I don't know what to call it other than throne, the papal chair. And they denounce Satan, but they never denounce Lucifer. And like I said, they sit under that throne. You'll have to see a picture of it. It's Lucifer ascending, and then spread out underneath him are all these people connected hand in hand. And they make up the body of the throne.
That's creepy as
Well,
fuck.
it's also interesting is that they also reference the name Lucifer for you said the Easter proclamation. Well, there's the Paschal candle, which is part of the Easter, that big white candle that they light during Easter or whatever. That the Latin hymn for that was referenced Jesus as Lucifer throughout that time.
Right. So way back when. And even in the Sumerian tradition where Tiamat and her son died for people. They died for our freedom, for our knowledge. Because the gods, they said, were too noisy. They wanted too much. They were too noisy. So these beings came to her and begged for her help. And she failed, but by killing her and her son, they actually were able to elevate mankind. Because the monsters she created then came to earth and were able, kind of like the Grigori, the Nephilim, were able to elevate mankind up above slave status. Which, by the way, this is the same religion that Egyptians believe in. They name it different things, but I think I referenced the fact that the Egyptian religion is the old Sumerian religion. Which Lucifer has always been equated, or Michael has always been equated with Horus.
Yeah, well, also, the parallels between Michael and Lucifer are pretty big deal because Michael has a flaming sword, hell, fire.
Yeah, and Lucifer had a flaming torch.
Ooh.
Because it's like the fight or the knowledge is kind of almost the metaphor for that.
And think about in our modern times where we had the flaming torch as knowledge. Statue of Liberty. Flaming
torch?
Right. It's always this torch. And you wonder, why did we pick a torch? JFK, the eternal torch. These things represent like that, something you can't kill. It's never, I don't know if it's freedom of spirit.
And the thing is,
like a sense of self.
If somebody listens to this and feels like it's super blasphemous to talk about it.
Okay, boo. I feel like she's a Christian. She
it's
just
very
came out
against
as
it.
Christian.
It's always important to go back to the fact that Lucifer is never referenced in the Bible. It's in Isaiah 14:12 as a metaphor to the king of Babylon. But a lot of historians believe they were talking about Nebuchadnezzar and Belshazzar, if I'm not mistaken. So it was never a reference that became associated with Lucifer until more pre-modern times, like the Church of Latter-day Saints took it in as Lucifer being the pre-mortal name for the devil, and then Dante's Inferno and all that. So it's not necessarily that we're saying Christianity is completely wrong here. You need to listen to Luciferianism. It's the fact that there is a separate distinction that should be made between what you believe the devil is versus what Lucifer as a figure is.
Because do I believe that there is an evil, a demonic presence? Yes, I absolutely do.
Yeah.
Do I think it's ran by Lucifer? No.
And if you watched Lucifer, you would know he's a good guy.
He's a good guy.
He's more like...
He was just put in a role.
I think he's like chaotic neutral.
even say he's almost chaotic neutral to
Chaotic
chaotic good.
Yeah.
He just believes in, doing whatever you want to do. Humans should have free will. Humans should have knowledge of everything.
And that's Luciferianism.
Yeah.
Did
You
I
got
say
it. You said it. You did it.
You said it three times in a row. We're very proud of you.
Where's Beetlejuice? Oh, what if I said it and Lucifer pops up? Hey, guys.
Hey.
I will say, though, that when I was researching this, and a lot of times it would be late after I'd finished League, I would get the creepiest sensations, like something was watching me. I don't know what it is. I don't think
You're
it was
unlocking
Lucifer,
something you didn't expect.
but I feel like it was weird, and there would be like, even my brother said yesterday, he's like, your room feels weird. It's like, what do you mean? And he's like, when I take the dog out, your room feels weird. And he wants to believe in ghosts, but he doesn't.
Yeah.
But for him to say your room is weird, and he's like, and there's all sorts of noises in your room during the day. Well, thank you for telling me that at 2 a.m.
Yeah, I'm the same way with that's why I don't that's why I don't read or listen to no sleep stuff. Watch creepy top 10s on YouTube after 8 o'clock.
When the darkness is settled.
Exactly. I want to be able to sleep tonight and not be flinching at every creak and everything. I'm like, nah, I'm just gonna happy, fun stuff.
Right. Cat videos.
Kitty cat.
Pandas.
Meme videos.
Yeah.
Cat meme videos.
Yeah. I thought you said mean, and I was like, I don't go to Live League either.
Gee, no. I'm
I've
not a
developed-
child anymore.
Yeah. I hate when they're on Reddit and you click on it and it's it's terrifying. Now I'm afraid of rocks flying through windshield in a car while I'm driving.
Well, did you know, funny enough, talking about Lucifer, that there are actually indications that in Christian tradition, the Latin word Lucifer, unlike the English word, did not necessarily call for a fallen angel, but that there was 2 bishops named Lucifer.
Oh, fancy.
Lucifer
of Cagliari and Lucifer of Siena. So it's
because Lucifer used to not be a bad word.
Yeah.
Right.
Now, if we had a child and named him Lucifer,
well, it's
he
also
probably wouldn't get far in life.
No. God.
Well, and in Latin, the word also applied to John the Baptist.
Ooh.
And was used as the title of Jesus himself in those Christian hymns.
Because John the Baptist was the first pope, right?
Yeah, he was the one who anointed Jesus, so he was elevated as that first papal figure.
Dawnbringer, Lightbringer. I mean, it's just unfortunate that if you hear the word Lucifer, the first thing you think is oh my God, it's the devil.
When you think fallen angel and he's beautiful and beauty can be seductive and lure you into evil, it's weird how everything has gotten warped.
So I think when we hit the pop culture stuff, it's important to denote the difference between Lucifer and Satan. Because if we talk about the devil at the crossroads, we're not talking about Lucifer. We're talking about the actual devil at the crossroads or demons that are at the crossroad.
Well, and here's something interesting. When I was doing this research on YouTube, it led me to some really weird videos.
Yeah.
And then just looking further into that, I listened to a lot of recordings of exorcisms.
Oh, Jesus.
And
that's why your room's all fucked up, Angie.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's probably some bullshit got summoned through because I was listening to it. But there was this one, and it was a really famous exorcism, but I can't remember who it was off the top of my head. But they were asking her, is Lucifer blah blah blah, and the demon inside of her said, "Who is that? He's not one of us."
Oh,
and
wow.
it named off all of these
demons,
minor demon names, and it said we are the ones who caused the fall of Cain, and this and that and the other. But it didn't recognize. They didn't recognize Lucifer as one of them, and they didn't recognize because what the demon said through this girl, and this is if you believe in demonic possession, which I do. But they said we don't know. Lucifer's not with us. Now you can interpret that in any way you want, but Lucifer's not with us. I think that means he's not on our side,
right?
You're barking up the wrong tree.
Well, if you take, you can villainize any sort of figurehead in the past. I mean, there are religions that also consider Lucifer the husband of Diana.
Princess Diana?
No, in Greek religion, Greek and Roman religions.
Oh.
So it's not that, it's up to interpretation, as everything else should be up to, not just that it's the word of law.
Or you can demonize it. Did any of your blood vessels pop in your brain?
I think I had a small aneurysm, but I'm okay.
Angie was down for it.
I'm down for anything. I'm DTF. Becky didn't know what that meant once.
Oh,
I was an innocent little potato.
So sweet.
I was like, hey, Becky, are you DTF? And she was like, sure.
I was like, what does that stand for? I kept thinking like the delivery place that it's like DTS or something like that or whatever it's called.
DHL?
DHL. I kept getting DHL. I'm like, what does that have to do? What does like delivery trucks have to do with anything? Okay.
Andy's going to deliver you something.
Hey. Boom. Yes, my prostate is
Deliver
fine today.
you unto evil.
Look how you brought it back. That was
See,
pretty good.
I'm good at this.
Pretty good.
The other thing about the Catholics is they have an enormous telescope. It's one of the biggest in the world, and it's called Lucifer 1.
What?
Yes. And what they do is they're looking for something. And when they were asked what were they looking for,
Oh, here it comes. I know what you're about to say. I know it. I shouldn't have even
what
wondered.
do you think they're looking for?
Tiamat or Neba? Or
They're looking for Nibiru.
oh my
They are
God.
looking for the return of the Lucifer planet Nibiru. Now, let me tell you the levels of mind blown I experienced. They're looking for the aliens to come back. Do you know that there's congressional hearings that started yesterday asking senators about their UFO cover-ups?
Yeah, because now it's all coming back out that some like FBI was investigating Sasquatch and all this other shit.
Not only that, but ever since the Canadian Prime Minister came out and said, yes, we know these people are in government.
Right.
We know exactly who they are. We were ordered to work with them.
Oh,
Now there's
Trudeau?
congressional hearings. Yeah.
Last podcast on the left did a side stories about that Canadian guy, and the fact that like he was just so matter of fact. He's like 107 years old. He's like, I'm about to die. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
We've met these guys named this guy. He's like 378 years old, and he's lived to see like the rise and fall of our civilization, and he's helped us, and he used to come and visit and like be a counsel for us. I was like, what the fuck are you talking about?
One of the first astronauts, and I would hate to say who it was. I think it was Armstrong. But he said when they were giving him like his retirement farewell speech, he basically said, they're lying to y'all. They're not telling you everything that happened on the moon and why we've never gone back. You should ask questions. So he didn't tell us what happened, but he told us that.
He probably did it for the safety of his family.
Yeah. And
When did you say that JFK was assassinated?
JFK said he had huge news that he was about to rock the world with. And the day that he was going to deliver it, so at the end of that parade, he was going to give a speech where he said he was going to pretty much break the world with this earth-shattering news.
See, my thing is, well, maybe because we're already so weird as it is, but I think if somebody said, yes, there's actually extraterrestrial life out there that is thinking, living, breathing, I don't think I would be surprised. I'd be like, well, there you go.
I would be like, whatevs.
Whatever.
I'm like, duh.
Can they help us make sure our planet doesn't implode?
Reptilians exist. And next. Like at
Didn't
this
you
point,
want to say something about reptilians and the serpent from last episode? You forgot.
yes. I think it's interesting that Tiamat created these serpentine people, and they were also cursed and thrown to the bottom of the earth, it said, which we say the reptilians live in the hollow earth.
Yeah.
So
So it's not mole people, it's reptilians.
yeah, I think it's reptilians.
Or
There could be mole people too.
or
I'm not judging.
every earthquake is the mole people and reptilian people fighting it out.
Ooh, that would be kind of cool. That'd make a great story, actually.
Hell yeah.
Like the underground worlds and how it affects our world. Like the differences.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be cool.
I didn't have a chance to research this, if this is where the Godzilla and Mothra creators got their ideas, but the Godzilla monsters are Tiamat's children.
It makes sense.
I think that they based it off of those Sumerian myths.
I'm glad he's on our side for now.
Well, I think it's also like kind of breaks into the Lovecraftian mythos. Like you get the elder gods and you get their children.
Well,
that come to Earth
and
fuck
yeah,
shit
and that's
up.
a lot of those ideas is that there's a higher being that created these beings. And I mean, how do you have something like kaiju and then Lovecraft all come around together and have similar ideas? Like, it just doesn't make sense.
After our last episode, I really did have a crisis because I was like, okay, I think I might believe, this Tiamat bullshit. I was like, I think I might. But then my mind was like, well, then who created them?
It's the chicken
Stop it.
It's the chicken or the egg argument.
And then who would have created them?
Yeah.
That's why I like to live in my little bubble that the Big Bang happened, and that's just...
Where do they come from? And don't you think it's funny how many galaxies there are, and they all look alike, and they all look like red blood cells? Maybe we're just life support for this enormous being. But then where does he live?
Okay, I think we're gonna have to end on that. No,
Because
Angie, we're gonna turn your mic off now.
No, because
No.
think about this. So think about how weird our galaxy is, and how people are, and we kind of have fucked everything up.
Yeah.
So if everything is working together, meshing together, and the whole purpose of everything is the well-being, remember, we're here for the well-being of all, and we're like fucking things up. We're like that cell that becomes cancerous, because all cancer is abnormal cell growth. And you know what happens to that? They get cut out of there. They're cut out, irradiated, nuked, poisoned.
We're the cancer of the universe, essentially.
I'm glad we reached that as our consensus for the conclusion of this episode.
So, you're welcome. You're going to go home tonight and think about that and be like, yeah, they do look like red blood. They do look like platelets. All the galaxies do look like platelets.
Hey, that... Okay.
They look like little swimming in the...
Somebody turn her mic off.
No, this is fun.
I can see the crazy, like percolating in her head right now.
Is it crazy? Because you know what it says when the Anunnaki come back? They're going to take the enlightened ones, the woke ones, to be honest.
I'm woke.
You just used woke as a way to explain how you're going to be, like, elevated, okay?
I'm going to be woke. And
Speaking of cancer.
when they take me and enslave me on another planet, I hope you're happy. Because you were not woke, and you'll get to stay here and die in the irradiation.
So kind of like the Rapture. Thanks for bringing it back all the way around.
That's what I'm saying. Because the Anunnaki coming back, and it refers to taking the enlightened ones, it's the same. Christianity stole that mythos as well. They took... I don't think they stole it. I think it was...
Adapted.
They adapted it, and they adapted it in a way that would increase ignorance and keep power in a solitary unit.
But thanks to the Crusades, you can only believe one thing.
The Cruserders?
The Cruserders. Ermagerd, the Cruserders.
I really think we should do an episode on the Rosicrucians, Freemasons, and the Templars.
I'm down. I love those secret government things. Mm-hmm. You're like the Dan Brown of podcasts right now.
I'm going to disappear, and you're going to be like, the Anunnaki took her. Meanwhile, I'm in Gitmo, or Gitmo.
Gitmo.
It's even worse than Gitmo. And they were
or
like,
Gizmo.
Waterboard me for what I know. I don't know anything. I just have crazy
I just went
theories.
down YouTube, and that's what happened. I started on cat videos, and this is where I ended.
Yesterday, let's talk about some more bullshit that happened yesterday. So, the militia being called out in Oregon against itself. Government fighting government. And then yesterday, they started not only rounding up non-citizens, but citizens for these camps. Citizens. I need this all to sink in.
You know,
this is some fucked up stuff.
They always say history always does repeat itself.
Right. And you know what? When people want to talk shit about OAC for saying, referring to these camps as concentration camps, there were concentration camps in the U.S. A death camp is like Auschwitz. That's a concentration camp that became a death camp. Concentration camp is just where you concentrate a group of people.
Yeah, during World War II, that's what we did all the Japanese.
Yeah, we had the Japanese concentration camps. Mm-hmm. People are really stupid if they don't know those existed. And that Chinese people were deterred during that time as well. Or a little later when people were coming over to get married to citizens so they could get away from what was happening in China.
And that show, Conspiracy Theory, I think it was called, with the governor, who was the wrestler?
Oh, Jesse Ventura.
I almost said Seth Rogen, so I'm glad I didn't speak.
Well, he was looking into like these mass storages of coffins, and even here in Georgia, he came across like it's not abandoned, it's this huge fields of these coffins that they're storing, and coffins that you can put a contaminated body in. So as he's investigating that, he starts coming across urban concentration camps, and that's when his show was shut down. That's like one of his last shows. Because, what are these things? Now, we need answers.
And this is also the last episode of the Free Rotation podcast. Thanks for listening to us. If you never hear from us again or our Facebooks go down, you know what happened to us.
We're not finished talking about Lucifer.
Next episode, we're talking about good omens, so don't say anything. Like, don't shut us down. We're going to get right back to normal.
Oh, yeah, we're going back into pop culture. We're going to talk about good omens. We're talking about the show Lucifer.
South Park, Devil's a Part-Timer.
We want to talk about Paradise Lost.
Supernatural.
And
Sabrina,
yeah.
I mean, there's some good shows out there.
I'm going to have so many notes.
Yeah, we kind of got the easy part of it because it's like, hey, this is all historical stuff we can find. Good luck. Welcome to the 21st century.
Now, I'm just going to look. I'm literally just going to put in, it's me, Good Omens, Supernatural, Lucifer, and then I'm going to type in Google most popular pop culture versions of Satan,
Well,
Lucifer.
they're gonna bring up
I
Paradise
know,
Lost.
so many things.
Unfortunately,
And it's fine.
And you know that's 10 books of like 40,000 stanzas each.
Oh, I was gonna go to Spock. No.
Hey, I like it. I'm down for this.
But Paradise Lost is interesting because it alludes to Lucifer as you almost feel that he's a character you can relate to.
Right.
He falls in love with Eve. It's more of a love story at the beginning. Which, who knows, a lot of the Lucifer stories from previously, even in Christianity, has Lucifer falling in love with Lilith and luring her away from Adam, and that's how the fall of man actually began.
I need to finish Mim Knock the Devil.
I'm
I'm halfway done. And then there's also the Sandman series, which that's the Lucifer base. And Dante's Inferno, not the really long story, but the video game.
The video game.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, I remember playing that one.
That's such a weird adaptation for a video game.
It was.
Oh, God, it was so weird. I really enjoyed playing it, but I had nightmares about that shit for weeks.
It's fucked up.
Also, I wanted to point out that when Christianity completely turns their back on these other ideas, but even Christianity says that Satan rules the earth, that Satan is the leader of the earth, blah, blah, blah. Wouldn't that mean this is hell? And that goes right back into the Luciferianism that says that we were spiritual beings who came here to learn something.
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't this be our punishment before we go back? Or if you take the word punishment out of it, the two align perfectly. Lucifer rules the world. We come here in order to learn something and we go back. You go to hell according to the Catholic Church, until you've atoned for your sins, at which point you can buy your way into heaven. But it used to be you could just get a priest to pray you.
Yeah.
Pray the gay away.
Well, my family tried that for years. I'm still gay.
There's one. I was going to make a pop culture reference joke, and now I forgot. Angie got deep, and now just can't go back.
Hey, Becky, where can they find us?
No, Bobby, we're not ready.
Are you not ready? Okay, what do you got?
I'm sorry.
I wanted to...
Oh, I was going to say, you could talk about Tiamat in the reference of Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, and how she is the mother of dragons, because Tiamat created dragons.
Mm-hmm.
And Tiamat rebelled against Bahamut because she wanted to have her own voice. Bahamut was a strict, this is the order. It's platinum dragons, gold dragons, silver dragons. This is the order. And then your colored dragons are down here. And she was like, no, we're equal and we have free will. So when we think about, this lawful evil, she's just standing in opposition to an evil a good so lawful it becomes evil. Because even if you read the lore in D&D, you're not quite sure that Bahamut is good.
I mean, they'll always play it as the trope of being good.
Against Tiamat.
Yeah.
So, but when you read about it, the dragons are good. They're inherently good.
Yeah.
But Bahamut might not be.
Right.
Is he the big black dragon?
No, he's a platinum dragon.
Who's the big black one?
They're just black.
Black would be on the Tiamat side.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there's the chromatic dragons and the platinum dragons. So at red, blue, yellow, white, green, and black, those are chromatic dragons. And then platinum.
And Tiamat is often seen as a big black dragon.
Because I remember at Heroes, they used to have that really big black D&D figurine, the dragon one.
Because the black dragons are, I think, the hardest to beat because it's poison. It's really hard to counter poison in D&D.
It's true.
Really hard.
True.
Even on the Critical Role thing, I saw they had to do a hero's feast to restore endurance and get rid of poison.
Yeah.
That's an incredibly high level spell. And they had to do it because they were exhausted. Those are your two horrible things.
Unless you are a species that is resistant to poison.
Wanted to propose that I believe Bobby could be Lucifer.
Me? That'd be sick. I wish.
Yeah. So I want you to think about it inside.
Constantine.
Yeah.
That's another one.
Oh, that's one of my favorites.
The only reason why I said that is because Bobby's blonde and the guy kind of had a pompadour in the show.
I think maybe that's why I associated Bobby with Lucifer. It's Constantine.
Bobby, you got to cosplay Constantine next episode.
I did that. I did it at Amber's
shit.
Halloween party.
Oh my God, you did! Bobby is Lucifer. Confirmed.
Yep. My next level thinking got us there. Didn't know why I thought it. Glad you filled in the blank.
So that means I can shoot flames out of my butt.
You can do that when you eat Taco Bell.
Yas, queen.
I've got some lighters. So did y'all have any questions about Venarianism.
Damn it, you were doing so good.
And
You
the
did well.
Crusaders.
Can I get some dyes for my Crusader outfit?
On Diablo, yes.
Okay. Diablo!
Diablo. But Diablo focused on the devil,
devil.
who Satan and the devil, which it never names Lucifer as bad guy. No, the devil is a whole different story. The devil is in the details.
Yep.
Can't wait to talk about that.
I have no questions. I feel educated today.
Bibby, any questions?
My brain's swollen right now.
What I would like for y'all to take away from this, even if it just seems so outrageous, you can't believe it, but think about the similarities and how maybe your quote-unquote perception and understanding has a much bigger meaning. Like, open your mind. Your perceptioning.
That's like Persephone.
Yeah.
Perceptioning.
Yeah, I'm pretty
I would
open-minded
say
when it
that.
comes to stuff, so it's fine. I'm always down to learn new things.
So I know we crap on Christianity a lot, but I think my problem with them is that they can't acknowledge that they borrowed
Right.
or share these mythologies and legends, and they want it, and they're violent. Christianity is extremely violent,
And y'all mess with my D&D.
and they wonder why people are violent towards Christians. But this is what you've established for centuries: is
Yeah.
that Christians will conquer through violence if they can't do it.
And
through
there's
peace.
no room for any sort of extra interpretation.
No.
Although modern Christians, to be fair, a lot of them do leave it
Oh
to
no,
that.
we are seeing this age of enlightenment, so to speak.
Intolerance that wasn't there
Mhm.
necessarily,
Yeah.
even in our parents' age. So
And I am going to see how I can become a Rosicrucian. Because when I was reading about it, I'm like, these people sound amazing.
you can vlog about it.
Okay.
We do have a YouTube channel that only gets podcast episodes.
And then you'll see my head will spin around and be like, I joined the Rosicrucian. It's
And she
perfect.
complained because I wanted to go to Joanne's yesterday.
That is
Literally
that's
hell on earth.
Christianity. No, I think hell on earth is fine. I think Joanne's is pure Christian heaven, and that to me is hell.
Cosplay is a thing.
I thought that was Hobby Lobby.
That too.
I've always fucked
But let me
up.
tell you, when you think about how heaven is described, it's described so materialistically. It's heaven is diamonds and gold streets and silver houses, and all you do all day is sing. I don't want to hear people singing all day.
But the thing with that though is that the interpretation of what they can see, so they can like perceive it in our like mind, because it's probably. I mean, think about it. If you look at,
I think it sounds like an alien spaceship.
well, I was going to say in Revelation they
The
talk about
constant
how there's a
humming.
huge bird that flies, a metallic bird that flies
Oh, yeah.
over.
And when you hear about heaven, it says there's a constant hum of a chorus of voices. Couldn't that just be an engine? Is heaven just a huge ship? Because some of the ancient mythos is that Tiamat was destroyed and Earth was attacked because we had reservoirs of gold, which this alien species found. They needed it to fuel their stuff. And we were created to...
I'm turning your
Mine
mic
that.
off now.
Whatever. This is different ways of looking at stuff. I'm not saying I believe all of this, which I believe every day.
I know. I'm like, I know you're saying this. Believe in it.
They could contradict each other, and I'll believe both of them because I think the truth is right between them. So you just have to find the similarities. It's like pulling apart a puzzle that you can't see all the pieces. So it's like a 1 billion piece puzzle, and you can see 10 pieces, but you're trying to take those 10 and fit them
Right.
in a way that makes sense, and you never will. We never will.
You literally gave me PTSD because they kept talking about puzzle pieces and circumstantial evidence for like 3 hours at that thing. So when you start talking about puzzle pieces and putting them together, make a picture, I'm like, I can't.
Well, because if you can just kind of fit those where they should go, you'll
And you
start
kinda see
seeing
the
a
picture.
picture. Yeah.
And you don't need all the puzzle pictures.
You don't. You just need enough for your mind to make an
Puzzle
educated
pieces.
guess. Or not even educated, but a guess. But we'll never know this part of the puzzle. We'll never know it.
We are the puzzle.
Because, yeah.
We
will
the
join that spiritual realm
world.
and become the puzzle again.
Okay. I
So
think
just think when you die, you'll get all this knowledge.
I know, and I agree with that. I'm all down for that.
But we won't know it because we're a hive mind.
Yep.
And maybe you'll forget you loved me.
No.
I would rather stay here on Earth
Aww.
as a demon and possess people and cause them to kill others.
Okay, now we're ending the podcast. The end. Okay, let's turn off the mic.
Wait, Becky, where can they find us?
You can find us in hell. I'm just kidding. You can find us on Facebook at The Free Rotation Podcast. You can find us on Twitter at The Free Rotation. You can find us on Instagram at The Free Rotation Podcast. We're on YouTube and
not
Twitch
SoundCloud.
at The Free Rotation. Hey, we really only play League of Legends and Stardew Valley when we stream, but Teamfight Tactics did come out, so we'll stream
And
that
we're
one.
trying to queue it, folks.
And
we have no patience.
it's Dragon Con time, guys. It is time for us to do cosplay making streams.
That's why Becky mentioned Joanne. Please pray for me in whatever religion you worship.
Bobby, are you cosplaying this year?
Maybe I have an idea.
Do the Constantine.
That or Ace Ventura.
I think that'd be pretty fun. You could just wear that shirt and be good to go.
Camp callers are in right now, Beckles. Thank you very much.
We're also affiliates of Weeby Geeks. Check out all the great podcasts at WeebyGeeksPC.com.
Don't we have our own website?
We do. It's at TheFreeRotation.com. Check out our backlog. One day, Angie will write stuff on that website.
One day.
Well, I actually have a story to go up. So you sent me the link for me to be able to get in as an admin and update it?
Yes.
So I really do have a story that I'm starting.
Okay.
So for those of you who like reading stories.
I like stories.
I can't read.
That's true.
I like stories.
But yeah, so check us out on Twitch. Hopefully we'll start doing some YouTubes of our cosplaying.
Oh, I do write stories on other sites.
Naughty, naughty.
I write naughty stories, and I write naughtier stories.
Okay, bye, guys.
Bye. Oh, wait. We have a big interview coming up.
Nicole, good night.
Thanks, Becky, for doing it.
You said it last episode.
No, but goodbye, everybody.
TheFreeRotation.